Yeah, we back. Now, today we're going to be talking about, as you can see, take a look up on the screen. Mali issues an arrest warrant for Barrick Gold, the CEO of Barrick Gold, Mark Bristow. And Barrick Gold, like I mentioned before, is the second largest gold mining company on planet Earth. And Mali is one of the largest gold producers on planet Earth. So here you have one of the largest gold miners versus one of the largest gold producers. And on my channel, I've been doing a series called Economic Warfare, where we pretty much discuss these battles that are taking place between these governments and these Western multinationals. Now, as you already know, the Western corporations for decades have been able to enjoy enormous profits while paying very little investment, right? Extracting billions and billions of dollars in wealth and paying peanuts in return. For decades, these Western multinational corporations, in concert with their governments, have been supporting and backing all these puppet regimes, these so-called democratic regimes that have allowed them to make money hand over fist, right? Providing bribes and kickbacks and signing backdoor deals with these so-called democratic governments who were more than happy to look the other way whenever they weren't paying their taxes. These same multinational corporations who provided campaign financing and financial support whenever there was a leader running for office, right? So whenever they get into office, they would return the favor. And what would that favor be, right? As soon as you get into office, sign this contract. Even though this contract is completely lopsided, it makes no financial sense, but go ahead and sign that for me, right? And then, of course, the Western media would go on TV, would go on the radio, and they'll be like, oh man, this is a great leader. This is a champion of democracy, a trusted ally of the West, committed to stability in the region, a true reformist leader with a vision for the future, beloved by the international community, right? Meanwhile, whole time, he's a puppet of the Western multinationals, right? But in the Western media, they'll praise him as a champion of democracy and economic stability. But now, the geopolitical situation has changed, right? Over the past few years, we've seen a lot of changes happen on the chessboard. And a lot of these multinationals, they haven't been able to enjoy the same profits and the same, ease of doing business that they once enjoyed in the past. Now, in today's video, we're going to be breaking that down, right? We're going to be talking about the legal battle, the economic warfare taking place between the military government in Mali and Barrick Gold, the second largest gold mining company in the world, right? So let's get into it. Now, this is a whole, ongoing, fiasco going down, right? So we got to take it back, a few months back to get you all caught up in case you haven't been, paying attention, right? So a couple months ago, Mali had arrested 3 executives from another gold mining company called Resolute Mining, right? As you can see, Mali military government detains 3 executives from gold mining firm Resolute. Now, before we dive in, I want to remind you, this channel runs on your support. If you find value in the content, then I encourage you to contribute and help us keep delivering these in-depth videos. Support the channel in the description box. Now, let's get into it. As you can see by the headline, in that situation, Mali demanded $162 million from Resolute Mining after detaining the executives. This article came out back in November 10th, last month. Australia's Resolute Mining confirms the CEO and 2 other employees have been detained in Mali. Mali is demanding Australia's Resolute Mining to pay about $160 million to resolve a tax dispute after the government detained the gold producer's chief executive, according to people familiar with the matter. The CEO, Terry Holohan, and 2 colleagues have been held in the capital of Bamako since late last week after the Resolute boss traveled to the city for meetings with the nation's tax and mining authorities. The detention comes as the military rulers of Africa's 3rd largest gold producer ratchet up the pressure on mining companies to renegotiate economic terms. Now, after the CEO was arrested, take a look up on the screen. Resolute Mining shares plunge as the CEO was detained in Mali. So basically, the company lost hundreds of millions of dollars in market share. I believe the stock price dropped over 40%. It just went crazy. Like, take a look at this stock. Take a look at the performance of the stock. This is like the past 6 months. Look at how it just went crashing like a plane crash, right? It was all the way at the tippy top earlier in the year. That shit went. Now, let's continue. Australian gold miner Resolute Mining shares witnessed a 32% drop on Monday following the arrest of 3 of its employees, including the CEO, Terence Holohan, by the Mali government officials. Now, the stock price collapsed at such a rapid rate that they had to suspend trading on the entire stock. They suspended trading on the stock. Take a look up on the screen. Resolute Mining suspended trading after Mali demanded the Australian gold miner to pay about $160 million to resolve a tax dispute that seen its chief executive officer detained. The company's shares were suspended pending an announcement, it said in an exchange filing Thursday. The stock fell 8.1% during the trading session and has tumbled 40% since the news of the detention of the CEO, Terry Holohan, along with 2 colleagues, became public at the weekend. Now, as you can see, the black man once again destroying Western multinationals. We destroyed Orano, the French multi-billion-dollar uranium multinational. We destroyed Resolute Mining. Man, let's continue. This article came out a few weeks ago. British mining executives held in Mali freed after $160 million deal to settle tax dispute. The Resolute Mining chief executive Terence Holohan and 2 employees have been held since the 9th of November. 3 British mining executives who had been detained by the government of Mali have been released and are safe and well, days after agreeing to pay $160 million to settle a tax dispute. Resolute Mining, an Australian company, said on Thursday its chief executive Terence Holohan and 2 other employees who had been held in the country since the 9th of November have been freed. The 3 executives were in Mali's capital, Bamako, to hold discussions with the mining and tax authorities. They were detained at the end of a meeting with government officials, held to discuss tax and other state claims that the miner had previously said were unsubstantiated. The miner agreed to pay $160 million to the Mali government this week to help resolve the tax dispute. So on one hand, see, they tried to hold a good faith. You see, our enemies are very arrogant, brother. Our enemies are very arrogant, like I said. So when they were arrested, they said, man, these claims are unsubstantiated. You know, these are illegitimate claims, right? But you still ended up paying $160 million though. So if it was unsubstantiated, why did you cut the check? If you felt you had a case to defend yourself, why did you pay 160 M's? It's because you was bullshit. Our enemies are very arrogant, bro. You know, they try to hold a good face, try to hold a good poker face. But at the end of the day, you know you was in the wrong. You know you was guilty. You know you was caught with your hand in the cookie jar. So instead of defending yourself, because that's what anybody would do if they felt they had a good case, they would defend themselves, right? They would defend their dignity and their honor. But instead of doing that, you decided to go in the wallet and cut the check because you knew you was wrong. You knew you was wrong. You knew you was dead wrong, right? But I respect you taking accountability, but you knew you was dead wrong for that. Now let's continue. Now, after the company lost hundreds of $1 million in market share, after the stock price collapsed, after he paid $160 million, the CEO of the company, take a look up on the screen, Resolute Mining CEO takes a leave of absence after Mali detainment. Resolute Mining CEO to take a leave of absence. The CFO steps in. So the chief financial officer is going to step in as the CEO while the current CEO is going to take a leave of absence. He's going to take a little break. He'll go on vacation, right? He probably got traumatized, down in Mali. So he's like, listen, I need to go spend some time with my family. I need to relax and spend some time with my family. I need to take a break. I feel you, bro. Take a break. Take a break, man. Take some time to yourself. We all need a recharge. I get you. But anyways, that takes us to the topic of today. Because we're not talking about the CEO of Resolute Mining. We're talking about the CEO of Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold, the second largest gold mining company in the entire world, right? This article came out a couple weeks ago. Mali issues an arrest warrant for the CEO of Barrick Gold. Let's get into it. A warrant has been issued by the West African nation for money laundering. Barrick is in dispute over division of benefits from the gold mine. Let's jump straight into the articles. Mali, one of Africa's biggest gold producers, has issued an arrest warrant for Barrick Gold chief executive Mark Bristow, escalating a dispute with the Canadian mining company. Now, I just did a video, the other day on Niger with another, Canadian mining company in the uranium sector. So as we can see, Canada also has their hands in the gold sector as well. And keep in mind, the Canadians are basically the descendants of the French and the British, right? So when you see these white guys from Canada, you got to understand these are the descendants of the French and the British. Now let's continue. The West African military government is seeking more income from the sector to bolster state revenues as prices of the precious metal rally and has detained mining executives to put pressure on foreign companies operating there. Now, like I mentioned before, the price of gold has been on an upswing, has been surging as of late, right? So like I said, it's the perfect time now to really, take a hold of that, take hold of those benefits, man, because it makes no sense for the price of gold to be soaring and the black man and the black woman not enjoying the benefits. It don't make no goddamn sense. God bless us with the gold, right? Whatever God you believe in, Allah, the Most High, the ancestors, whatever you believe in, they bless the black man with the gold. So therefore, the black man needs to be enjoying the majority, the lion's share of the benefits and the profits that come from having gold at our disposal. Now let's continue. 4 senior local employees of Barrick were briefly detained in September as the government demanded about $500 million in unpaid taxes and then arrested again last month pending trial. Bristow, the CEO, told Reuters in early November that the world's number 2 gold miner was confident of resolving claims and disputes with authorities before the end of the year. He is accused of money laundering and violating financial regulations. Now, this article came out the other day. Barrick may close the Mali gold mine over a dispute with the government. The shares of the gold producer fell as much as 2.6% in Monday trading. Barrick says that Mali's military government has blocked the shipments, right? So now Barrick is currently under sanction, right? So there is currently no gold leaving the borders of Mali, right? There is no gold leaving the country, right? So as you can see, the black man has placed the Western multinationals under sanction, right? I know we are accustomed to things working the other way around, right? The Western governments and Western multinationals placing the black man under sanction, right? But no, the black man has placed the Western multinationals under sanction. There's currently no gold leaving the country. And now they are so mad, they're so angry, right? They are threatening to suspend operations in the country, right? They are threatening to close down their operations, right? They're trying to, listen, man, you saying that like we won't just kick you out the country on our own free will. Like, bro, we'll gladly kick you the fuck out. You talking all that hot shit, bro. Please, we'll gladly kick you out the country. Keep talking, bro. Keep talking crazy. Anyways, man, let's get into these articles. Barrick Gold will suspend operations in Mali if gold shipments continue to be blocked, the company said on Monday as it struggles to reach agreement with the authorities on a new mining code in the West African country. Conditions at the miner's Loulo-Gounkoto complex have deteriorated significantly, Barrick said, adding that employees have been imprisoned without cause and shipments of bullion have been blocked. Now, that's the same thing Oreno said before Oreno had to admit defeat. Oreno was like, man, the operating conditions have deteriorated significantly under the new regime. Let's continue. A spokesperson from Mali's mining ministry did not immediately respond to a request for comment on the matter. The ministry has previously not commented on the arrest of mining executives in the country. The world's second largest gold miner by volume has been negotiating with authorities in Mali for a new mining code to govern its operations in the country for about a year. Barrick said these talks have been unsuccessful. Now, I just want to give a shout out to the military government in Mali and really, all three regimes, because I always see that on the article. They say, man, we reached out for a comment. They did not respond to a request for comment. These boys, they don't talk in the media. They don't make no statements to the Western media. It's only the Western multinationals crying in the media like some bitches, crying like some hoes in the media, right? But when they talk to the black man got nothing to say. We don't got nothing to say. We don't got no comment. You know what I'm saying? We don't got no comment. Meanwhile, the white man always crying, putting out statements and press releases. Yeah, you crying, bro. Get that stock price dropping. Let's continue. Barrick said the charges against its staff are unfounded and called the arrest warrant against Bristow illegitimate. That's the same thing. Listen, that's the same thing the Resolute Mining CEO said. They said, these claims are unsubstantiated, but guess what? Yeah, he paid those 160 million though. Yeah, he paid them 160 M's though. Yeah. Keep trying to put on a good face for the shareholders. But at the end of the day, deep down if you're guilty or not. But I understand you got to put on a good face for the shareholders and the investors. Let's continue. Now, the company actually the other day put out a statement similar to how Oreno put out a statement on their website a couple weeks ago. Let's get into it. They said this. Barrick Gold Corporation reports that although it had previously agreed on a framework to achieve a global resolution of the disputes with the government of Mali over the Loulo-Gounkoto complex, it has to date been unsuccessful in arriving at a final resolution despite numerous good faith attempts to negotiate and a willingness to compromise beyond its legal rights. They went on to say, over 29 years, Barrick has invested more than $10 billion in Mali, with its mines contributing 5% to 10% of the country's GDP annually. In 2023 alone, Barrick contributed over $1 billion to the economy. Loulo-Gounkoto remains one of Mali's largest taxpayers and employers, with 97% of its 8,000-strong workforce comprising Malian nationals. To date, the Malian state has received more than 70% of the economic benefits from the complex. Now, as you can see, Barrick Gold putting out this piece of, what I call corporate propaganda, right? Trying to make it seem like they're doing charity for the black man, right? They always try to make their own personal economic interests seem as if they're doing charity. Like when they talk about how we give foreign aid. Oh, we're giving so much foreign aid. Please, those are for your own personal political ambitions. But I must say, the Europeans are so skillful at how they make their own economic ambitions, their own personal greed. They transform it and rebrand it as if they're doing charity for the world, right? It's crazy how they do it, man. They're talking about how we came and we provide so many jobs and we boost the economy. They're making it seem like they're doing charity. But the reality is you're not doing charity. You're not doing it out of morality. You are here to make money. Tell it like it is, bro. You are here to make money in whatever way possible. The same way how in the Congo, You forced a bunch of people out of their homes, evicted a bunch of people out of their homes just so you can establish a gold mining operation. Thousands of people had to be displaced from their homes because you wanted to establish a gold mine. Take a look up on the screen. In October 2021, authorities oversaw the demolition of 2,500 homes at the Barrick Gold mine in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Although Barrick, the Canadian company operating the mine, knew, or at least should have known, that some 2,500 families would be made homeless, it did not call on the government to stop the evictions. As a result, the lives of thousands of people are shattered. Now, like I said, the Western multinationals working in concert with the so-called Democratic leaders, right? The so-called Democratic leaders who are able to be bought and paid for. The Democratic leaders, they love propping up on the citizens. This is why they love these so-called Democratic leaders, because they know these men will look the other way when they're doing underhanded bullshit like this, right? They know these men will not assert their sovereignty and put their foot down and stomp their feet for their people. They know that. They know that. They're not accustomed to the black man stomping his feet and beating on his chest and standing for his dignity and his sovereignty. They're not accustomed to dealing with that. But these same men have the audacity to sit up in your face and talk about, oh man, I did so much good for the black man. You know, I brought so much benefits and I brought so many jobs for the black man. Bro, please stop. You are not in Mali because you are here to do charity. You are in Mali because there is an investment opportunity. You are in Mali because you are here to make profits, large profits, billion-dollar profits. You are not here because you're trying to make a noble contribution to Mali's development. You don't give a goddamn about that. And let's say I believe what you're saying. Let's say that you did contribute $10 billion to the Malian economy. Then I want you to give me the figures of how much you took home back to Canada. How much you took home back to the Western economy. If you gave $10 billion to the black man's economy, I want to know how much wealth you extracted and took back to your own economy back home. And then we could weigh it up on the scale and then see if what you're saying has any merit to it. Because if you ask me, this sounds like nothing but a bunch of corporate propaganda. You don't have any loyalty to the black man. You only have loyalty to your shareholders and your investors. That's your number one priority, making sure your shareholders are happy, even if that comes at the expense of our people. That's your number one priority, making sure the shareholders are happy. So stop talking to me as if you're doing charity, brother. I'm not trying to hear it. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to hear it. Now let's continue. They went on to say, Barrick has engaged constructively with the Malian government and its external advisors over the past 12 months, addressing their request for an increased share of the economic benefits generated by Lula Gancado. Notably, the government, a 20% shareholder, has to date received the majority of its benefits. Now, these guys talking about how much development and how much assistance we've been to the Malian economy. Maybe that's the reason why they want to renegotiate the contracts, because for them to only be a 20% shareholder, that makes no goddamn sense. Who is really benefiting and who's really not? And then on top of that, you ain't even paying your taxes. So let's do the math, right? So if the Malian government, based on the contracts that are already on the books, are only a 20% shareholder, then that means for every $1 billion generated, they only get $200 million. And you get the other remainder. But you're talking to me as if you're doing charity. Brother, stop playing in my face. Stop playing in my face, bro. Stop playing in my face. The solution is simple. Pay your taxes, pay whatever you owe, come back to the negotiation table and renegotiate the numbers. Obviously, these contracts were signed with a past regime, but guess what? Like I told Oreno, it's a new regime. Like I told GoVX, it's a new regime, baby. These mining companies, these Western multinationals have to understand it's a new day. Whatever contract you signed with an old regime back in 2004, listen, we got to renegotiate the numbers in 2024, baby. It's a new day. We have to come back to the table and renegotiate, right? And if you're talking crazy, put your hands behind your back, you're going into custody. That's what it is, baby. That's what it is. And let's continue. Now, I want to get into this excellent article that I saw that was written by this brother right here, Lindani Zungu. Basically talking on this topic right here. I want to get into this article before I get out of here. He said this. The article is titled Mali's Gold Mining Disputes and the Fight for Economic Justice. Let's jump straight into it. Last month, Mali's government detained 3 executives involved in the gold sector from Resolute Mining, an Australian mining company. It demanded the company pay $160 million in taxes it owed to the Malian state. Foreign media outlets were quick to sensationalize the news, framing the arrest as unexpected and claiming the executives were being held in captivity. Such language has clear elements of neocolonial framing that seek to portray a legitimate exercise of African sovereignty as criminal. The incident and the media coverage it received reflect the reality of neocolonial resource capture that continues to plague African states. Mali's move may have been demonized in the media, but it is part of an emerging pattern of African countries demanding renegotiations of unfair contracts. If it picks up momentum, this trend could incentivize others to pursue such measures against foreign companies that makes windfall profits off African resources. Mali is one of Africa's largest gold producers, yet its citizens are some of the poorest, with nearly half the population living under the poverty line. The national literacy rate is just 33%, while access to basic sanitation stands at 45% and to electricity at 48%. The country has struggled with droughts, climate change, and malnutrition. Gold accounts for about 80% of Mali's total exports, yet the economic benefits remain disproportionately small for the Malian people. For decades, foreign mining companies have extracted vast wealth while contributing minimal benefits to the host nation. Reports suggest that Mali loses about $580 million annually to illicit financial flows and to corporate tax avoidance. So once again, not only have these guys been able to amass large treasure chests of wealth while working hand in hand with these corrupt puppet so-called democratic regimes, they also aren't even paying their taxes. So the greed, listen, these guys are so consumed by the spirit of greed that simply these lopsided contracts aren't even enough for them. They don't even want to pay their taxes on top of that, bro. And then they want to turn around and talk about how much of a benefit and how much of a contributor they've been to the Malian people. My God, let's continue. This unjust exploitation of Malian mineral wealth is a legacy of European colonialism. Mali was under French colonial rule for 68 years. During this time, France established resource extraction practices to benefit French industries with minimal regard for local development. One of the main resources plundered by the French was Malian gold. After Mali attained its independence, this extractive arrangement was passed on from the French colonial authorities to foreign Western companies. They have been making enormous profits from Malian gold, paying negligible amounts of royalties and taxes to the Malian government. The recent tax dispute with Resolute Mining is part of Mali's broader effort to reform its mining sector and renegotiate unfair contracts. Recent changes to its mining code aim to increase state revenues and ownership. Mali has also demanded tax payments from another foreign mining company, Canadian Barrick Gold. The Malian authorities accused it of owing $500 million in unpaid taxes and have issued an arrest warrant for the CEO. Instead of being recognized as moves towards economic justice, these reforms have been dismissed in Western narratives as disruptive or authoritarian. This framing obscures the moral imperative for Mali to secure greater benefits from its resources. It is no surprise that the United Kingdom and the Australian government intervened on behalf of Resolute Mining, lobbying for the release of the detained executives. Such actions demonstrate how Western powers prioritize corporate interests in Africa over the enforcement of the local laws. By mobilizing diplomatic resources to shield alleged tax evaders, these governments reinforce a narrative that African governance is illegitimate. This interference mirrors colonial practices in which foreign economic interests supersede domestic economic and social interests. Despite foreign pressure and biased media coverage, the Malian government succeeded in having Resolute Mining pay its dues. It was also able to update the mining agreement, increasing its share of the mining revenues. African nations must stand in solidarity, supporting each other's demands for equitable resource management and challenging neocolonial practices. This is not just Mali's fight, it is a fight for the dignity and prosperity of nations across the continent. So shout out to that brother who wrote that article. Let me give him a shout out one time. Lindani Zungu, shout out to you, bro. Shout out to you for the excellent article. Now let's continue. This article, I believe, came out earlier today. Barrick Gold seeks arbitration over Mali gold mine dispute. Right, so now Barrick wants to go to court. They want to take the military government to court the same way how I did a video the other day talking about GoviX, the Canadian uranium company, wanted to take Niger to court, right? I dropped that video. Take a look up on the screen. Niger faces lawsuit after kicking out Canadian uranium company, right? And we spoke about this article right here. GoviX initiates arbitration against Niger in uranium permit dispute, right? So it's the same exact situation, right? These Western multinationals trying to take these governments to court to defend their rights to pillage the land, right? To defend their rights to have access to the black man's resources. That's basically what's going on here, right? So Mali and Niger currently are, I guess they're going to go to court, and then we're going to see, we're going to see what happens, man. But this is what we call economic warfare. This is economic warfare on full display. Now let's continue. Canadian miner Barrick Gold said on Wednesday it had submitted an arbitration request to the International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes, also known as the ISCID or something like that. to settle a disagreement with Mali over its Loulo-Gounkoto gold mine complex. Now, I already gave these guys the solution. The solution is simple. Pay whatever you owe, right? Like any productive citizen, pay whatever you owe in taxes, and then come back to the table and renegotiate the contracts, right? I know you've been enjoying the lion's share of the profits for, many successive regimes, but it's a new day, bro. So you're going to have to come back to the table and renegotiate them numbers, man. You're going to have to come off some of them profits. The price of gold going crazy. The black man needs his cut. The black man needs his share. And not only just a share, but the black man needs the lion's share, right? Yeah, the black man needs the majority. Yeah, the black man needs the lion's share of them profits, baby. So, I'm sorry. You've been living high off the hog for a very long time, for decades, but, it's time to come back to the table, bro. It's time to come back to the table. We need all that. Hashtag we need that back. Hashtag we need all that. But that's what it is, man. That's what it is. That's what it is. Back again with another episode, bro. But anyways, I'm not going to be here too long, man. It's your boy Neferkari. That's Salim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace.
No. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wifey and hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I'm eating no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Back in my city, they loving me. Standing alone, I'm 100 deep. Enemy plotting and still in reach. They try to make sure that we underneath. Trying to make sure that we never make it. Coming for power, come get acquainted. Coming for everything that I wanted. Feeling like Drake, but I really wrote it. Feeling like Kendrick, I'm checking names. Gotta roll up while I go insane. Got so much stress, I've been gated away. Stuffing these racks in this Louis case. One thing for certain, I'm about to check. Keep it 100 and nothing less. Stick with the family since day one. Had to stay down till my day come. Had to stay down, but I'm never patient. Hop on the mic and I'm motivated. Hop on the mic and I drop a classic. Haters can't see me, they copping glasses. Back in the studio making magic. Got a new tape and it's in production. Back on my business, I got a budget. Staying low key when I'm out in public. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wifey and hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I'm eating no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news.